Welcome to another episode of Radical Hospitality. We've got a special treat today. I've got Emanuele Pani. He is a seasoned real estate expert, entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience in the short-term real space. Born and raised in Sardinia, Italy, he moved to the U.S. when he was 15 and pursued his American dream. Over the years, Emanuele has built a diverse portfolio through real estate investment, property acquisitions, and professional Airbnb hosting. He is the co-founder and CEO of Dulce Vita Vacation Rentals in South Florida. He helps families and investors create their version of La Dulce Vita by launching and managing successful STR properties. In addition to managing his work, Emanuele also co-hosts the STR Secret podcast. It's really a go-to resource. I started following it several years ago. They do some amazing things in the STR space and helping other investors and short-term rental managers. He's also a partner at Duma Private Investment. They focus on multifamily assets in the Southeast. And beyond real estate, Emanuele has a passion for personal development and does some new, unique things in mindset coaching for individuals and helping them overcome their obstacles and reach their full potential. So, Emanuele, pleasure to have you, man. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Zeke, thank you so much for having me on, man. It's a pleasure. You have a great show. I'm really excited to be on and in the company of some really great previous people. Honored to be here, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming. As I mentioned before, my wife and I we're about to celebrate our 25th anniversary, and we're doing a little Mediterranean tour across Spain and Italy, getting a sample of Barcelona, Palma, Rome. We've never been across the pond, so it's our first trip. I'd love just to start there. I know that's your where you're born. What are some of your top recommendations to do? How do we actually experience some of the culture when we go?
Amazing. You're going to get a taste of La Dolce Vita, which is the sweet life, right? And I am super excited for you guys. Europe in general, man, very walkable when it comes to the city themselves. I love driving around. That's all possible for you guys. Obviously, going to a cruise makes that a little bit more complicated. And then the best advice that I have, obviously the food is going to be amazing all around. The ways that I've always told my American friend is anywhere you go that you see pictures on a menu, just go somewhere else. Right? It's a very simple rule of thumb, but anywhere that you see there are pictures on the menu, there's pictures outside, not just a menu board outside with the pictures on them.
That's the tourist destination.
Just go somewhere else, right? Other than that, is really to just enjoy it, slow it down, and get to really take it in, and just also realize that like it's going to be right. So there's plenty of time to do everything to do it on this first trip, and really putting down some pins as to what you guys want to do in the future. I love driving Europe. I think it's an amazing way to explore or take the train, but also based on time, cruises are also super effective. So really, it's an exciting moment. What are you guys looking forward to the most? I love Palma. Palma is a beautiful place.
Yeah. I usually love to, go and just stay in one place and just get to know the culture a little bit better. Since we've never been to any of this parts in Italy, and going through architecture school, nearly everything they talk about is like all the great architecture, and Barcelona and Rome. And so to be honest, like Amy and I couldn't decide. We're like, all right, let's do the cruise thing so we can go see everywhere. Not to worry about where we're going to stay. We've never done a cruise either. And then we'll go back and do the settle into one spot. So it got started. We're actually looking to, a friend of ours is buying a 1,000-year-old boutique hotel outside of Barcelona. And so we're going to go and tour that. We're looking at maybe investing some of our IRA into that. So we'll be able to make it a business/vacation trip. So we might come back and spend some time there if that project pans out. But,
amazing. I remember walking in Barcelona, you walk down the Rambla, and it's just like, it's so fun and such a beautiful place. And you're going when now?
We're going to go in June, the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's not going to be super, super hot yet, but it'll be nice and hot. But I remember just walking around La Sagrada Familia and just seeing the Gaudi buildings around town. You're going to absolutely geek out because it's the idea. Because you know what it is, man? It's just, there are cool things to think about now. But when you think about when they were built and the mind of the man that built them back then.
Yeah. Like I look at it with all the technology that we have, and you look at things like Frank Gary's Balboa, just like state of the art and pushing curves and envelopes. Gaudi was doing that, thousands of years ago. And just the artistic ability to communicate what's in your mind to a mason craftsman to be able to develop some of that. So yeah, it'll be exciting. I'm really looking forward to some of that.
For sure. And for me, Gaudi, man, it's such a great example of the power of having a clear mental picture of what you want to create and the power of the mind, right? He knew that there was no way that was going to be done in his lifetime. Like he knew he was creating a vision for something as good luck. This is what when there's no way we can do it now. And yet, when the mental picture and the desire is strong enough, look at it now. It's almost finished. Right? So that to me is super inspiring because like it really reminds you how when you have a bigger vision, how that can really impact what you can create, no?
Yeah, I love that. I feel like part of the human experience is to constantly stretch the ability to look further out.
I agree.
When we start that ability to go from, I've got to be able to put food on the table today to I'm going to plan and plant seeds in the spring. So I've got something to harvest in the fall to, okay, I'm going to plan out a project that might go beyond my lifetime, next lifetime. Each of those are leveling of what you can create. I know you talk a lot about like mindset and leveling up. What are some of your thoughts on that in terms of how to actually level up and create better projects, better success in the work that you're doing?
I love that question. So what's coming up for me and how I want to answer that is one, it's really starting to think about what you want to create based on what you want and not what you think you can do. Going back to Gaudi, right? Perfect example. We see what he wanted to create, not what he thought he could create, not what was possible for him to create, just what he wanted to create. And I think so many people, as they go through business and life and creating things, they create things based on what they think is possible. But oftentimes, not what they want, or not fully what they want. And so as you're developing in the mindset space and arena, is understand that your thoughts create your reality all the time. And so how close are your thoughts related to what it is that you actually want, what you want to create? And how many of your thoughts are just the same old thoughts? Because the reality is that 80%, probably more, of thoughts are repetitive in nature. And most of those thoughts are negative. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is, okay, assume that we plug in a machine that gets a transcript of everything that you thought about for the day. And you get to read that every night. Or I get to read that every night and I don't know what your story is. I don't know what you're working on, right? Would I know what your burning desire is based on that? Would that script show me this is what Zeke is thinking about and focusing on, and this is what Zeke is excited about? Or would 70 to 80% of the script be the same that was yesterday and the day before that? And by so being, creating the same decision making and the same result.
So that's great. I think, and I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to print that out, my daily mindset, and look at it with you sometime. For you, coming in as a immigrant at 15, I think there is this, I feel like in our country, like this, it's made of immigrants and this American dream and this ability to do just that, to come here. There's a hunger, there's a desire to achieve and to look and to develop yourself further and look out and create a life that you want. How did being an immigrant with your family coming here at 15 change and influence you to create the life that you're creating now as a Italian coming to America?
So one, Zeke, to be completely honest with you, I don't think this would have been possible back at home. Just because of the fact that this is just so ingrained into what this country is, right? Number two is the idea of personal development is 100% an American concept as far as I'm concerned, right? A lot of people back at home will continue to be what their family has always been. My dad is a doctor. Most likely, if I stayed home, that's the path you walk down, right? The other thing that I remember coming here when I was 15, and Italy has this very judgmental culture, and you'll notice it, right? When you're going to be walking around there, you'll see the people just checking you out, right? And it's just part of the culture. And it's a bunch of people that don't want to be judged. There's other people that don't want to be judged. So it's this constant cycle of just judgment. And I remember I lived with a host family the first time I came. I was in a student with Rotary Club.
Oh, okay.
And we went for a weekend somewhere because my host sister had some kind of competition, a gymnastics. And I remember like, okay, we're going out for breakfast at this time. And I was like, awesome. I wake up, I start changing, showering. I'm like, I need to get dressed up. And my host dad looks at me and says, what are you doing? Let's just go down for breakfast in our pajamas. What? You want to walk outside this room in my pajamas? There's no way. And yeah, dude, that was the most free thing that now I take back home, right? So there's a lot of people back at home that now call me American because of the way that I dress at times. Because I don't care, right? Unless I'm doing something that means something to me. If I'm running to the grocery store because I forgot something, shirts with holes in it, short, I don't care, right? Whatever I wear at home. And that is an American byproduct too. This idea of not needing to care about what other people think as much, which in a way, it's part of the ecosystem of being able to achieve everything you want. Because what I've learned now is that if I always care about what other people think about my goals, my desires, my ambitions, I'm going to give more weight to that than what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely one of the hardest things is
That's hard.
Putting yourself out there with dreams that may be beyond where you're at now. Imagine Gaudi, back to him. It takes a lot to promote a vision that's that far out there. One, to believe it yourself, and then to overcome all of the naysayers. Just imagine along the way. I'm proposing this giant building that's going to look like a dragon, and it's going to take 2 generations to build it. The strength that it takes to think larger than we are today.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something, right? But one of my mentors this week, I was on a call with him, and he said, you cannot bring faith into the world by going after things that don't require.
Isn't that true? Yeah.
You cannot bring faith into the world going after things that don't require it. So one of the things that I have loved about being here, being able to create in this country, it's how that is encouraged, that is nurtured. And again, I think within your social circles, if you're not mindful, you can get the same limiting group of people around you that I did back in, right? You're still the average of the 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be times that you're going to be hanging out with people that are not in your highest and best. And that's for you to realize it, right? Unless I can realize it for you, Zeke can realize it for you, you have to realize it for yourself. And this is the country where if you do raise your hand, you're like, hey, I'm looking for a group of like-minded people that loves investing in boutique hotels and loves talking mindset and everything else, you can find those people here.
So how are you doing that now? I know you are leading some groups. How are you surrounding yourself with people that are continuing to level you up with where you're going?
So Mike and I joke all the time. We have ended up paying for our friends a lot. So at the beginning, mastermind groups, I would pay for my friends. And what I mean by that is I wasn't buying friends, right? But I was buying access to rooms with the people that I wanted to be friends with.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am honored and I have the privilege to create rooms like that myself. Mike and I have, through SCR Secrets, there's different level within SCR Secret, but the boardroom is our highest level group. We just came back from a 3-day event in Orlando. And for me, those are my people. And so by creating something that speaks to people like you, like the building that will come, that's how it was. I was there. We have a common friend that was there, Fernando and Margarita. And there was this moment, Zeke, that it was the end of the last day. We were all sitting together having a chat. Fernando gets the guitar. Fernando starts playing and we start singing as the whole group. And I'm like, this is what I want, right? I want people that live in the moment.
And you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was
You know?
Margarita there as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think going back to your question, man, is one, you got to create it if you want, or you got to find somebody that has created what you want and then become part of it.
Just to catch our audience in here a little bit, I want to bring up Fernando and Margarita. So they've gotten to be dear friends of ours. And we actually met them a year ago at the STR Wealth Conference in one of the boutique hotel. There was like a subgroup meeting, and we've stayed in contact and we've had dinners together. And they have such also a unique story. They came to America from Venezuela. They were escaping repression that was happening there. Margarita and Fernando were both like national singers, just incredibly talented, came from rich families, and rich in terms of not necessarily wealth, but just in terms of quality of life and the way that they care family structures. And a couple of their host dinners, they'll bring out the guitar and they'll play some music. And this has become like a central part of what they're developing in their future boutique hotel is this idea around gathering around music. And I've watched over the last year where they are taking these leaps of faith and have started a design process on a hotel that reminds me of something that, again, that Gaudi would do. It's a little bit out there. I look at it as they've got extra space for recording rooms and things that may not necessarily tick off the box of increasing ADRs to make every room the highest revenue possible, but they're bringing their culture, their heritage, and then they're approaching it with a way of deep visioning. And it'll be, it's been exciting being in their space, even though they haven't finished their project, because they continue to reach and push further. And I think they're those types of people that you can, begin to connect with and will help push you along as well. So
yeah, they're lovely people. And for me, the other component, going back to the people you surround yourself with, is be around people that run on faith.
Who are some of the people and influences that you've had in your life that have helped push you to go further with y'all's businesses and some of the conferences that you're hosting and some things that y'all...
Yeah. So I've been blessed to have a lot of mentors in my life. One of my very first mentors was the guy that I worked for at the apartments. His name was Hanan Benavi, and his name is still Hanan Benavi. He's Israeli and moved back to Israel. But it was with him that I started to understand that it was a different way. So he was like my rich dad, poor dad kind of moment, right? And then Rock Thomas, where Mike and I met, he was running a community called M1, which was March to a Million. And he really put some gasoline on the whole concept of personal development. And then I've been blessed over time to expand that more and more. But a lot of my stuff, man, it's actually books and actually reading powerful information over and over. So it's really the studying of powerful information, the studying of myself, and then the studying of myself against the powerful information.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm a big advocate on reading. I think mentorship, I love that idea, can come from the people that you're surrounding yourself with now. And then you can also reach back. I've been reading through some of Lincoln's biographies and some of his methodology for leading in difficult times. I love the idea of being able to create a mental mastermind with past history figures that might help deal with some of the leadership things that you come across today. What are some of the books, some of the people that, that you're reading today that are influencing the work that you're doing?
So one of my favorite writers is Neville Goddard. He always sits on my desk, right? This is The Power of Awareness. And it's one of those books, again, that I would say I got back in July, and it's 180 pages. Took me 6 months to finish it from top to bottom. You guys are listening to this, you're like, damn, this guy cannot read. I'm like, he's Snoopy, like he reads 2 words and then puts the book down. And that's where I was saying to you is the difference between reading and studying. We have this need to consume. My question, and I was that person, right? I was that 1 podcast a day, 365 podcasts in the year, 1 book a week. And then I got to the point that I was like, hey, what about no? What about take a break for a second? What about I actually start studying. So now when I read a book, first of all, it has to be recommended by a ton of people for me to touch it. I no longer see a book and buy it. And then I'm going to study it. So I study the book. I study myself against the information. You can think about every single great book that you read, right? Who Know How? 10x is better than 2x. All of these books, right? EOS, Traction, amazing books, life-changing books, the E-Myth, right? Beautiful books. Did you read it or did you study it and implement it?
So what are some of the ways that you're not just reading, but pulling those things into action?
So one is really taking my time to really understand what the things are talking about. Two is to really take the time to over time ask myself, how well am I executing something? Mindset is an interesting concept because a lot of the times people would do the R&R, which is really a good thing. How many people, especially in our
That's what we were
space,
taught in the school system, right?
dude, holy shit.
R&R, if you do that, you're an A student.
Yeah, but it lacks knowledge. It lacks depth. You don't know. You cannot explain it. So in the way that I look at things now, it's okay. We take this book, like, can you do an hour conversation on this book right now? 100%. On any topic in this book, we pull it out. You and I can talk about it for a whole hour. No problem. And so when I look at things, I'm like, okay, how well am I executing on the things that I'm learning? To me, it means like, how well can I talk about it? Have these books that I'm reading affected my decision making? And how well are my results showing that?
So you whet my appetite a little bit on this book then. Why don't you give us just a kind of a high overview of what are the things, some of the things that you're taking away from it?
So one of the big things that Neville kind of talks about is the concept of the I am. And now everything that you are is determined by your concept of yourself. Everything that you experience in life is based on your concept of yourself. So if you want to change what you experience in life, you got to change those words that follow the I am. A lot of the times, right? I see it a lot with friends. The moment a friend has a kid, they become a parent. And so when you ask people, and I do this in coaching a lot, who are you? I am a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a this, I'm a that. Okay. Those are all things you do. Who are you? How many of you can answer that question? Can you answer that question right now? Who are you outside of the things that you do? Not the human doing, but the human being. Who is the human being behind it, right?
Yeah.
And the understanding of consciousness. Consciousness is, we all share it, right? Is the fact that, and I think I've said this in one of the calls recently that I've done, is just like the fact that like that which we're most embarrassed to share is that which we're most have in common. So we're all having the same experience. It's just different based on the concept of ourselves. But we all share one consciousness. And that's why when you hear spiritual truths, they resonate with who you are because it's the truth. And your body knows that it's the truth.
So this idea of naming what you are, the I am, and really owning that on a deeper level, whether that's, hey, I am successful, I am kind, I am a giver, not a taker in society, whatever those things are that you're aspiring to, and going, and again, it goes back to, I look at it as vision of saying, hey, if that is my future self, going ahead and claiming that now, similar to this idea we were talking about with Gaudi of, hey, it's calling things as if they are here in the moment, but just because I haven't achieved it yet doesn't mean it's not real. To me, I go back to the Bible where God says, I am the great I am. And I think when I read that, it's a look at, for God, time is not relevant, right? He doesn't exist in a place of time. And when he can look at things that happen in the future or happen in the past, it's irrelevant because he's calling that out. And he can do that, I think, with us as well, to say, Emanuel is a leader of men. He's looking at us individually and seeing, although we may be the acorn now, in our future, we may be this mighty oak tree. And it doesn't mean the acorn's any less of an oak tree than it is when it's in its acorn state. It just hasn't yet fulfilled yet. And I think all great achievements require pulling yourself out from that current condition and being willing to allow yourself to grow into what your potential and capabilities are. What is your thought with that? Is that kind of
100%? Yeah, the I am is never the I will be. And you know what's funny? You mentioned the acorn. I have an acorn on my desk. Right? Yeah, no. It's a little golden acorn. Right. And the reason why I have that on my desk is exactly that. It's because the acorn is an oak tree. The acorn doesn't think I will be an oak tree. The acorn knows that he is an oak tree. And so the only thing that the acorn needs to become the oak tree is what? The right environment and time. But if the acorn always stays in this place, I will one day. Nothing can be like what it like to be used to be right now. We can't be something that we're not right now. So there's no way to be anything but to be what you are right now. And so a lot of the times people are like, when I get this, I will be that. How does that work out for you? How is that working out for you?
If I'm an acorn tree, I think a lot of what we're called to is to figure out what we're supposed to be. And you may be looking out, and if I'm an acorn and I'm thinking, oh man, I really want to be an apple tree. You may be close, but maybe that's not what you were called to or what was embedded in you. And the journey of life is one, looking out ahead, but two, looking inwards. I think we all know, and there's a guiding spirit that's put in us to say, this is what I was made for. Even though if I look nothing like that, and being willing to lean in, to plant into it, to surround yourself by others that will encourage you to do that, and to water it, and then a little bit of creativity to see what life comes up with.
I think the biggest thing is like to want more is to be human. To want to be human is to want more. It's just a natural
want
part.
More is to be human, is to want more.
So it's just a natural part of who we are. And the thing is this, right? An acorn is an acorn and it can never become a cherry blossom. But you set your I am. And so if the I am that you are now is not something that is working for you, just change the words to follow the I am.
And so if I'm sitting in this place right now, someone's out there and they're interested in becoming to their fullest potential. They know they've got this deep desire. Maybe they're an immigrant that's come into America. They want to, build out their future dreams. Where do you start? And what is some of the advice? And let's maybe bring it back to we're a development hospitality show. And a lot of our audience is in that space of trying to build out their future investments and dreams and projects. Where do they start?
So one is understanding. I have a big thing that I do a lot when it comes to coaching is what is the language that you use? For example, right now you use one of my absolute pet peeves of a word, which is trying. The word trying. So to quote the great Yoda, do or do not, there is no trying, right?
Yeah.
And so in understanding that as you are on this journey of creating a hospitality brand and creating a boutique hotel and creating whatever project you're working on, I am building a hospitality brand. It's not I will be. I'm trying to. All those have what in it? That I will. Is the now. So as you're going through, language creates life.
Yeah.
Right? So what are you doing and how are you speaking? And what is that creating right now? Number two, create a clear mental picture. What is it you want? So you're not trying to create a clear mental picture, create it. Like literally sit down and show me a clear mental picture in writing of what that looks like. Can you? If you listen to this show and you have a dream and you are a hotelier and you are working on your first hotel, then you see it. If you walked it, I'm sure as hell Gaudi walked La Sagrada Familia millions of times. And the thing wasn't built. It's still not finished. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking my language, Emanuel.
Right? Yeah, you got to. And we have examples everywhere. Zeke, like Walt Disney, right? I asked his brother, wouldn't it be nice for Walt to see Disney World? It's like, he saw it.
And I think compare ourselves to Gaudi and Walt, they had to do this all in their mind. And today we have this like huge advantage over our people of the past because you can literally do this. You start with a mental idea, a sketch, And then as an architect, we'll create those in 3 dimensions. We'll do virtual walkthroughs. You can literally see it. And for me, every time we go through the process of designing something, it's all rooted back to this idea of we're creating a clear mental picture, and that will become reality.
Mm-hmm.
Something that did not exist before. And it's not the plans. It's not is this financially viable? It's not hey, I got to get through the construction permitting. The most important part of all of that process is that you're creating this clear mental picture, and there is going to be, every time there's a million challenges that come in front of you. How are we going to fund it? How are we going to get it through permitting? How are we going to get contractors to show up on time? How are we going to get it open and get it ran? And all of those things, I have no idea. But you know what? If you start with this very clear mental picture and you can visualize that, and some of us like Gaudi and Walt Disney were gifted with that, but nobody has an excuse today. Hire a great designer and architect, but then take that visioning and use that to empower to get through all of the challenges that you're going to take, because there's going to be a lot to get it from that initial concept to completion.
100%. And the thing is this, right? If you're listening to us talking now, and I am terrible at visualization or imagination. You just had a practice. You were once a kid that could imagine the craziest things.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been affected by this thing that's called growing up. And it's a terrible thing that happens to people.
It is. We were all artists and great artists in first grade. So
100%. Because 2 things, you know why? Because our imagination was running wild. And 2, we did not care about other people's thoughts.
Yeah, it goes right back to that initial conversation.
You didn't care. We thought our finger paintings were the greatest pieces of art after the Mona Lisa.
And
were they? Absolutely not. And Zeke, the other thing that I would love to add on this topic before we move on is, as you create a clear mental picture, bring in your senses, as many of them as you possibly can, right? So one of the things that I started doing recently to better help serve our clients and to better help myself and Mike is I'm learning and I'm practicing hypnosis and how to use hypnotherapy to help our clients really lock into their subconscious mind, this new I am.
Okay.
Right. And so one of the things that I do with that is to really bring a feeling and to bring in not just a feeling, all feelings. So when you walk into your hotel, we can do it right now, right?
Okay.
If you guys have please don't be driving, right? If you're driving, wait a second, but close your eyes, right? And can you see yourself opening the doors to your lobby and walking in? Can you feel the surface as you step into the lobby? Can you feel the carpet and how it's going to feel? Is the room cold? Is it hot? Is it warm light? Is it cold light? Is there a smell? Do you have your custom smell as a hospitality brand, right? Lots of hospitality brands have a custom smell. What is your custom smell? And then as you walk in, does the place feel airy? Is it big? Is it small? Is it light colors? Is it dark colors, right? As you walking up to your front desk, if you have one, what does your staff look like? What are they wearing? Do you have one of those little bells on the counter or not? Bring them. Bring all those feelings in. As you walk into your room, is the key something that you still insert? Is it something that you tap on? Is there a bracelet that you put on? Is it a door code that you type in? The first thing that you have when you walk into your rooms in your hotel, what do they look like? What do they feel? And as you create a clear and clear mental picture of all these things, you're going to start creating it easier and clear. Because the only thing you're responsible for is creating the vision. Going back to Gaudi. What did Gaudi do? He created the vision, right? He didn't know the how.
Yeah.
How, what, when, what, I don't care. This is my vision. So be more like Gaudi.
I love that. And again, I'll go back to that was super easy for me because we've gone through over the past year selecting every finish. I know how that door opens. I know when you come up to our front desk, there's a a barista that's going to welcome you with a great cup of coffee, fresh from Dominican Republic, from our coffee farm down there. You'll walk in. To the left is a remote check-in. You go into the back. There's a warm fire going on, 4 seats to sit around, some beautiful lights up above, open staircase on the right. You walk right up the staircase. We've got a wood handrail. On the left, there's a textured stone wall that comes from native quarries around Morrison. And you'll feel the warm light coming down from the skylights that are above. And as you're stepping in, it feels like you're stepping into Morrison and Colorado, because all of these senses and touches are part of the place that you're in. And so it's not a hotel could be anywhere in the country. It's a hotel that's built out of the place that it's in. And when you come upstairs, there's a library on the left. You'll have books that you'll be able to pull down that are all of the adventures that are in the area for Colorado. You'll be able to pull out maps, plan your adventures and your trips for the day. Go into your room, use your smartphone to open the door. The door's open, and each room is similar, but they're unique. They're wild adventures around Colorado, full mural wall. So I might step into the elk meadow room, and it's a misty morning, and there's an elk snorting on the corner of my bed coming up. And out the back door, or out the back window, is a view out onto the Red Rocks and Front Range. And I get to take a beautiful, comfortable mat, lay down on the bed there, and that's the end of my day. And having spent time, you started out like the original concept. I remember walking out to the site, and there was snow on the ground, and a colleague of mine and I, we've been down and we sketched into the snow. This is going to be a little courtyard like this and 2 stories. And so it started with a hand sketch in the snow of what we're going to do there. But over a past year of building on that vision, those choices, and bringing those things together, we haven't built it yet, but it's already done. And now the steps are, I just have to make those next steps one after the other. So you do the work and those things will come together. So
100%.
I love, yeah, go ahead.
No, the only thing that I want to tell people is go back 5 minutes, close your eyes and tell me that you couldn't see 6 minutes. You could see it exactly, right? And so what happens a lot of times is you get an idea, becomes a goal, but a goal becomes reality only when it becomes a burning desire, that becomes an obsession. These are the words of an obsessed man, right? Tell me that he's not obsessed. Like, he's clearly obsessed. And just to put the final seal on the conversation we're having, and we know he's obsessed because what? This is happening, right? He's creating, bringing it into existence just from his obsession. Idea, want, goal, desire, burning obsession. Reality.
And it's absolutely, it's all right there. I think you hit it on the head, Emanuel. And it's just that it comes back to that just desire. And if you follow it through, I get to see it over and over again, because on a daily basis, we're working with clients that, come with that initial seed. And I've seen the process, and I know you just got to lean into it. And it is absolutely the same, whether we're talking about hotels or 15-year-old immigrant coming into the United States and building a huge portfolio of short-term rentals and being able to walk out on a stage and inspire people. Well done to all the work that you've done, my friend. And
appreciate you.
Yeah. And you can build that life. So it's good. It's good. This has been a really fun conversation. I love the work that you're doing. I love that you lean into the deeper things in life that really matter. So continue that. Thanks for sharing with our audience here.
Been my pleasure.
If people want to get in touch with you or follow the work that you're doing, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, Instagram, epani.realestate. That's going to be the easiest thing. And then if you are in the short-term rental space, STR Secrets is my baby, right? Mike and I have built this amazing community, and we help people create financial freedom. We've helped 16 people quit their W-2 jobs last year. We've helped 49 people since we started giving out the Freedom Award. And our goal for this year is 50 more people reaching financial freedom. And so if you are in the STR space, boutique hotel space, and you would like some help to really throw some fuel on your fire, reach out to us. I would love to help you and make sure that you're one of the 50 people.
They are the real deal. I definitely highly recommend them. I've, like I said, been following Emanuele and Michael for a couple of years now. I got the honor to see them at the STR Wealth Conference and have also got to know a lot of their clients that are making those moves and achievements. And so if you're interested, definitely I would highly recommend reach out to these guys and get in touch. So thanks again, Emanuele.
My pleasure.